Mike Chandler versus Conor McGregor is coming up. It's a great fight, highly anticipated. McGregor's first fight back in years from breaking his leg and going on a little skid. I think, and then Chandler, obviously, he's been on a tear. He's had great, incredible fights ever since he's been in UFC. And his whole career in Bellator, he's had amazing fights. I've always watched Mike Chandler because he's from Missouri and he went to Mizzou. And I've always watched his career back when he was wrestling to when he went into Bellator, he had his fights with Eddie Alvarez, and then his explosion in the UFC. So I like Michael Chandler a lot. McGregor, I watched his whole career. His come up was kind of unmatched. His come up was unmatched. Just the excitement, how he was calling the shots, doing all this stuff. It was just a different level, you know. John Jones' come up was similar, but it was like McGregor just had a little something different to it. So this fight is going to be in Vegas, and I'm going to say I think McGregor's going to come out, and I think he's going to knock out Chandler. I say this because McGregor is a pinpoint striker, and when he's on, he's super good. I think he's been working a lot of jiu-jitsu, and he's been working his striking, his kickboxing, his taekwondo style, and I think it's a bad matchup for Chandler because Chandler gets hit a lot, and I think when you're fighting a high-level precision striker like McGregor, especially now that he's bigger and he has a lot of knockout power already, he's always had a lot of knockout power, I think this is going to be a bad night for Chandler. I think it's going to be a second-round knockout for McGregor, and I think it's going to be a good fight, though. I think it's going to be a war for the first 2 rounds, and I think in that chaos is when McGregor is going to catch him with some punches, similar to how Charles Oliveira caught Michael Chandler with, I believe he caught him with a left hook in the second round of their fight. Very similar to that. I think Chandler is a beast. He's a super athlete, but when we look at McGregor, when he fought Eddie Alvarez, when McGregor was at his best, Eddie Alvarez had nothing for him. He just pieced him up with his striking. And when we look at Eddie Alvarez versus Chandler, it was an absolute war. All their fights were wars. So I feel like Chandler doesn't have that pinpoint striking or that high-level understanding of striking to the degree that McGregor has. And I think that's going to be the changing factor in this fight. McGregor looks in good shape. He hasn't fought in some years. I'm sure he's super motivated. And obviously Chandler's motivated. He's always motivated. I don't really care who wins the fight personally. I like both guys. But I do, if I'm going to put my money on it, I'm going to bet on McGregor because I think he's the underdog and it's just a good bet. I think he's going to come in. I think he's going to be ready. And I think it's a good matchup for him. Someone who takes a lot of damage and someone who wants to brawl. That's ideal for someone like McGregor, So the difference is Chandler and Poirier, for example. Poirier has crisp boxing. He doesn't go in there and brawl with you, He brawls sometimes, but he has very crisp boxing and very technical. Chandler is not that. Chandler's good. He's technical. He's a great fighter, but it's not to the same degree of someone like McGregor. And I think that's going to be the deciding factor in this fight is going to be the boxing. So, who knows? Anything can happen in an MMA fight. Chandler, no one ever expected Chandler to knock Tony Ferguson out with that up kick. So anything can happen, but I think I'm going to put my money on McGregor.